We're going to call the meeting to order at 4:10. 4:10. This is the Building and Facilities Construction Committee meeting of January 20th, 2022. And I'd just like everyone to state their name for the recorder. I will start out as Shirley Mazinski, the chair.
Linda Brown.
Fred Fontaine.
Matt Wojcik.
Virginia Howe.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Wojcik.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, the first item on the agenda is the library. And Matt, any update on that ceiling?
So the quotes came in over 50,000, so I have to advertise.
Yep.
And it's on my to-do list in short order.
Okay, because the money has been voted at the town meeting. Okay. The other thing, though, I just like to, I don't mean to keep picking at this, but we need to do that ADA committee. As I understood it, when it was first brought up, they had tried to get a grant for ADA, and they just missed it because we didn't have a committee. So it might help them with their ADA project that they're on. Anybody have any other questions, comments?
Shirley, I can hear you fine. I was able to hear Linda Brown. I can't hear Matt for some reason.
Okay, we'll you know what? You can move that mic over a little bit, maybe, between the two of you.
Then you won't hear.
Take that one.
Oh,
No, she's
okay.
got one.
No.
Oh, for Jen.
For Ginger. Yes. Okay. We're trying to arrange it for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, next item is the green energy status. And I know the last time we met, Matt Benoit, you were getting all the data and getting it into the green energy, I believe.
Yes.
How did we make out?
Well, all I know is that we sent in the annual report.
Okay.
Same update from last meeting. We haven't heard feedback yet from Kelly
Okay.
Brown, as far as I know, unless you have.
No
Well, the
feedback.
grant application is in, but it takes them a while to do the review.
Okay. Thank you.
How's our sound?
Is that better, Ginger?
Better than that, great.
Okay.
I will speak up.
Anybody? Questions? No. All right. The municipal backup generator, where are we on this? And I believe you were going to have a walkthrough on January 5th. Did it
So we
happen?
did.
Okay.
So the designer came in on January 5th, spent the better part of the day in the building with me and with Adam. He had some preliminary thoughts. So everyone understands, this standby generator will be for the whole building, not just the police department.
Okay.
So we are most likely going to move it from the rear of the building next to the Sally Port. It's going to come to the front of the building in front of the gym.
Okay.
Its connection to the building will be right next to the power connection to the street, which makes a little bit more sense for the electrician to have to be able, in series. And we will draw fuel from the main fuel tank for the building. So we don't have a highway worker or a police officer running back and forth
Yeah.
every couple of hours if it is running. So that's good news. The bad news, generators are at least a year out. So even after the design is done, once he specs the generator, we're probably going to go out to procure the generator because it'll take us almost a year to get it
Yep.
on site. So just to manage everybody's expectations, that's beyond our ability to control that. He had some good thoughts, too, about other aspects of the building. Howard is on contract to come brief building facilities. So when he actually draws his first set of plans, he will be briefing you directly in person, probably.
Okay.
Howard's a joy to talk to, so I'm actually looking forward to having that update from him.
Good. Anyone? Questions? Comments?
We are on schedule. I probably should summarize, but we are on schedule with this.
Okay, it's just that once it's set to go, it's still going to be a
That's right.
year. Okay. All right. The next item is the Bad Luck Pond Outlet Bridge, and I went by there yesterday. I see all the equipment is out of there, but the detour signs are still up.
So the bridge will remain closed until the spring. It is a concrete box culvert. In order to pour asphalt over the top of it, you have to get this rubber polymer membrane to adhere to the concrete, and then the asphalt will adhere to it. That requires a warm temperature. If you start paying for them to heat this for the almost a week that it has to sit there, it gets beyond our budget to do. So we're going to wait on that. Now, there's still additional work that needs to be done, and you'll see them working on the side of the road and tidying things up, getting things ready for guardrail. They won't actually install guardrail until the asphalt is poured. That'd be the last thing that you see happen. The weather just caught up to us. We were fortunate we were able to work on it as long as we were. Now, what has happened is, and not everybody's understanding this, we have the comedy of a town official / resident trying to lecture the bridge builders on how to build a bridge. Please don't do that. All of the outlets were cleaned out. So anything that was holding back water previously because it was clogged up with silt or branches or anything else has been cleaned out. And the box culvert was sized for natural water flow. So the outlet is now flowing the way nature intends it to flow, because the water is following the grade and there isn't anything blocking it. In addition, we had to excuse me with Mother Nature and move some of her tenants out of the area. So the beavers had restricted flow, so they have been removed humanely, and their excess capacity in their pond was knocked down by John Furno. So it is working the way it's supposed to as a waterway right now, which is not the way it's run for a while. So for some people, they're noticing it's a change. But it is actually the way it's supposed to be. The water that's flowing through is supposed to be going at the rate that it's going.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I drove by,
Linda?
I think it was
Yeah.
Monday, and I was like, wow, that water looks high going towards the sawmill. So that's the height it's supposed to be? Oh, okay.
Well, and after a weather event,
Yeah,
you're going to have fluctuations.
okay.
Beaver dams do have the
That's what I was
effect of softening the volatility of water flows from weather events. And now it's going to be more peaks and valleys that you see. The extension of this project until the spring required DOT approval for the extension of the grant authorization, which we have obtained. So we have it, we're allowed to go into actually all of next year, which we don't intend to do, but we have until December 31st, 2022 to close the project.
So unfortunately, it's not on schedule
Right.
as originally. It was 88 days.
Yeah.
And
So lesson learned here for all of us is if we're going to relocate telephone poles for the sake of a project, National Grid, we've got to give them 3-4 months lead time, because they will delay you and you really can't fix that. So that's where we ended up. This was during the transition from Bill to Matt, so there was this period of time. I'm never going to complain about Grid. At this point, they have spent millions of dollars in this town in the last year and a half, cutting trees, hauling away the stuff, upgrading to Phase 3 wires all over town to support solar, which I think, when it's prudently invested, it's not a bad idea. So they've helped us out quite a bit. They will admit they got delayed on this themselves. It just took them an awful long time to do the poll petition. By the time I think the select board did it the day it came in. They didn't even wait because they knew that this would delay the project. They just went through it, but it still just didn't move fast enough. So as we go through other projects in town, we'll identify power and whether or not we need to move poles, because that obviously has a big impact.
Oh, it does. I mean, and this isn't the first time that's happened. And
Yep.
I think sometimes it's been with AT&T too, or Verizon. Yeah,
Because here in town, there are still poles that are owned by Verizon, by the
Yes.
phone company. And there's actually a couple that are owned by the cable company. So getting everybody to play nice with each other, you would think big companies would be able to move a little bit quickly, and it's precisely the opposite.
no, they don't work that way. I hear you. I hear you. Are we over what was estimated as far as some?
No, I think we're still on budget. So we got a report from the architect, that's GPI, that's doing the construction supervision on this project. They've had to move some things around, but they have stayed under the budget. Under the bottom line of the budget is still the same.
And what company was this?
Grumman Peterson,
Oh, sure.
Yep.
Okay. That's right. I remember when they got the contract. All right, anybody? Any questions?
No.
Ginger?
No,
Linda?
No.
You're good? Okay. Okay, the municipal fire alarm is still on hold, Matt, till
Yeah.
we do the roof?
correct.
And how about the gym windows?
Good news and bad news. The good news, we finally got all the pieces of the quote. So this, 2 days ago, I was sent the final piece, which is the shades.
Yeah?
Bear in mind, by the way, we're not doing this work in the winter. We're not going to open up the windows
Right.
until it gets warm out. Unfortunately, the shades cost put us over the threshold to advertise. So I'm going to have to advertise. I can't use the quote method. I have to go to the Central Register, to Combis, and to a newspaper of general circulation for 2 weeks. I'm still confident. We have a vendor that wants to do the work. They're the one that's been providing us with all the numbers. They were ready to quote when we were under 50 grand, but now it looks like 55. But it's over the threshold. I have to comply with the law. It is on my computer right now being worked on. So it is my intention
Okay.
to have this posted. So the way the Central Register works, if I give them the advertisement by Thursday, it will appear in the Central Register the following Wednesday.
Okay.
So my goal is to have it in a week from yesterday. No, I won't get it in today. It'll be the following week
Okay.
for 14 days. And then we'll set up the schedule. The challenge for us is coordinating the asbestos removal contractor with the windows contractor. So once we identify both of those people, we'll coordinate the schedule.
Okay. Yeah, we need to, as you know, get this done. It's been around too long. Anybody? No questions?
No.
Ginger, any questions?
no.
Okay. All right. Next item is the public safety radio system. Where are we on this?
So a lot of progress here. We've signed and finalized the license agreement to be on the Industrial Communications Tower in Webster.
Okay.
We've progressed through several rounds of talks now with American Tower, which is the owner of the monopole up on, next to the water tower, on top of the water tower on Church Street. Once we finalize that, and their concern mostly is how much space are we going to take up compared to how much we take up now. We don't pay rent for this one, so this basically is our space to use.
This is by the water tower, but,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
So Verizon is the primary tenant on that tower. They recently installed a brand-new generator and some additional shelter space up there, which changes the configuration of the space. So we are talking to everybody about getting established there. Riggers won't climb up to install our dishes until it's warm enough, safe enough to go up there. There'll be no ice or anything else in their way. Equipment has been ordered. It's beginning to arrive at Marcus Communications, which is the vendor in their warehouse. The way the contract was established once they reach a certain critical mass, they won't invoice us until they have most of the equipment on. Once we get an invoice, we will own that equipment and be storing it at their warehouse, so we're hoping to shorten that time up. The last piece of this is the high school and access to the roof and working with the school department. So right now, it looks like the work for the installation of conduit and broadcast equipment on the roof of the high school will be during February vacation when the kids are not in school. But the custodians were scheduled to be in to do regular maintenance in the building. So the building will be open. I don't know if you're familiar with the structure at the high school, but there's a stairway that goes up to the roof at one point. So we're going to come out of the supply closet on one side with conduit, punch a hole through the wall, and then from there up through the roof to get access to the roof for the technology. It's badly needed because we've had all kinds of workarounds in the last month and a half to try to get it so that people can talk to each other with their existing equipment. So we've had to migrate the entire fire, all of our ambulance equipment had to migrate over to an old Spectrum that we weren't using because the existing Spectrum wasn't working. So they are on Chief Foley's old UHF system, and the police have abandoned that so that we can put ambulance on there. I don't want to bore you with technical details, but engines in vehicles, especially vehicles that have an inverter, and all ambulances have an inverter because there's so much power being put into the box of the ambulance, that creates radio frequency interference, RFI, and the frequency we were using, that RFI from our inverter was canceling out the signal from the ambulance. They weren't able to talk to anybody. So we were doing all kinds of crazy workarounds. The FCC is mostly to blame for this because they relaxed the standards for automobile manufacturers. It used to be they had to comply, now they don't. It was cheaper for them not to comply, so this is the situation we're in. Our new system will fix this. It will not be impacted by this anymore. So that's it on public safety radio. We're making really good, we're on schedule to have this up and running by the summer.
Hopefully it'll be adequate for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Fred, anything?
No.
Linda? Ginger, any questions?
No.
Okay. Hopefully this will all get together. When do you have any idea when this is going to be completed?
I would say by the end of the summer.
Okay. All right. Okay, the next item is the municipal main roof replacement. And this is also going to be the fire station bid too?
No.
A different, you're doing, yeah, that's right.
Their roof is a separate issue.
Yeah, okay.
I would add to this municipal main roof replacement and municipal air conditioning. A couple of years back, maybe it's only a year ago now, town meeting approved $56,000 for the replacement or repair of our major air conditioning units. We didn't specify which ones, because we have a couple here on the first floor, and then there are 4 air conditioning units on the roof of this building that maintain temperature on the second floor. At the time it was done, it may have been overkill, but it was a school, as you recall,
Right.
so they were doing one of these handlers for each zone upstairs, and the rooms are sizable and high ceilings. But we rely upon those units for both heat and cooling, and in the wintertime, they provide heat so that the plumbing upstairs doesn't freeze. They were plumbed for, they were originally spec'd out for natural gas, but they're running on propane, so they've been adapted. But they're old, so 2 of them had failed in the past. I'm sure Adam, you may recall Adam telling people this, that 2 of the heat exchangers had completely rotted out in the 24, 25 years that they've been up there on the roof. So we were limping by with 2, but because the space is not occupied, it wasn't an issue. Well, now the third unit has failed. And we have only one really old AC unit between us and having a problem upstairs in terms of the temperature. This most recent cold snap, when we went down to 0 degrees one day, and about a week before, we were down to 4 degrees. The only prudent thing we could do was to run these heat units on the roof at pretty high capacity in order to keep up with the exchange with the outside air. So we won't be able to do that again because the third unit has failed. So we have the budget. So the town meeting approved 56,000. The repair was spec'd at 53, but that's all in. That's everything. And I'm going to go back with legal counsel. Now that the third unit has actually failed, I think I might be able to say, this is an emergency procurement. Let me line it up and spend the money without having to advertise, or minimal advertising. Because that's my gut reaction. The last thing I need is a pipe on the second floor to burst, because that would just be a pain in the neck. Now, there's no sprinklers up there, right? So you're talking about the lavatories and the water fountain. I think it's in the middle of the hallway is one of the only things. And I correct myself, every classroom up there has a sink.
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
water everywhere.
Yep.
Those are turned off, but that doesn't mean that. So that's where we are with AC. I do not want to do the roof until the AC gets done, because I have this nightmare that we will do the roof and some guy will have the crane up there with this AC unit swinging back and forth like a yo-yo, and he's going to scratch our brand-new roof to pieces, which we wouldn't really be covered for on a warranty because that's workmanship error. I just don't want those fights. What I'm told is that the units will fit into the same curbing. So the replacement units will fit into the same perforation of the roof of the existing units. So we're not going to have to do a lot of construction. It's a matter of getting the new units delivered, taking the old ones off. So that's where we are. This is a little bit of a troublesome situation. So we're going to work through it, but it's going to have to work as quickly as we can to deal with the situation. Our hope had been that we would do this after the heating season, right? But sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to. The roof spec, all I think I need there is, I actually think I'd like to, it won't trigger the threshold for this committee's attention, but I might hire a design professional for $10,000, $12,000 to oversee the roof spec and the roof, the construction supervision for that installation. Commercial roofing is for the people who know how to do it, it's a thing, right? It's just something they understand how to do, and none of us here has that background, so make sure we get somebody who does. Same thing with the HVAC. I'd be more comfortable if I had an air conditioning, heating, ventilation, air conditioning specialist write the spec for the size of the units, how they're going to be connected, the power requirements. It's just something that I really think we should hire out for. So we're exploring that, Madam Chair.
And
That's all I have for the roof.
any thoughts on when this might, in the good weather?
Well, it may not be a bad idea to operate a crane while the ground is frozen. So my hope is that I'll get the green light from council and that we can do this as an emergency for the air conditioning.
Right.
And that would not take us off schedule for the roof, because we only want to do the roof when it's actually better if it's a little bit hot up there.
Right,
So,
okay. Anybody?
No?
Ginger?
No, also,
Okay,
not happy, but also.
okay. So we are going to, as far as the fire station roof, you're working on the,
Where are you looking?
It isn't on here,
Oh.
but at the last meeting, you mentioned that this would be coming up on our agenda.
So what's going to be on your agenda first is their standby electric generator, their standby emergency generator, and their electrical service upgrade. That'll appear more. So we've posted the designer contract, same process as Municipal Center.
Right,
So that contract will come to you first for your review, because it's over 25,000. For your grading and sending 3 finalists to the select board,
like we did.
like you did last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be opened on February 10th, I believe.
Yep. I did see the preliminary, and you're waiting for input from the people involved?
No, I've gotten past that. So I've gotten all of the preliminary, all the feedback was done.
Okay,
So the RFP is very, very similar. It's not word for word, but very similar to the standby generator for this building. Just, because we're not telling them what size to do. We're asking somebody to design it for
Right.
us. So that's what, the verbiage was almost the same. The only difference was the narrative. That building is in a different situation than this one is. It's a critically undersized generator, doesn't operate most of the utilities in the building. So it has to be changed. But Howard Gerber, the electrical engineer who's working the standby generator here, turned us on to a very important fact, and that's why we have to have the design professional involved in this. He said, the rule of thumb for National Grid is they will look at your electrical service, what you're rated for in the building and your master service connection, and the transformer they install on the street will be about half that. Because they figure municipal buildings pretty much never use their entire electrical load. They only use about half of it. So before we run off and get crazy about upgrading to 3-phase power and 600, which would be, and getting the equivalent of 600 amps, the 400 amp service may be adequate, but we only have a 200 amp transformer on the pole. So we might be able to dodge a bullet here if we can get National Grid, the electrical engineer determines that that's the case, we would upgrade the transformer on the pole and stay with single-phase service, which would eliminate a lot of cost from this project. So we're investigating this as we go along, but that's why it's helpful to have, the electrical engineer doing the thinking. Because everybody we had talked to up to that point hadn't flagged that as an issue. But clearly, it's a really important issue.
okay. So I believe we'll be getting the information to review. I think it said in your layout by the 10th.
Yeah. So I think the opening might be the 7th. I'm giving myself like
Right.
2 days to do background research and
Okay.
background checks and to have your packets ready. I'm trying to have your packets done like 4 days before you meet. Does that sound like?
Yeah, we'll be meeting, I believe, on the 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you have a bunch of days to absorb
Right.
it before you had a meeting.
And I did ask Jen to send it via email so we can review it
Yeah.
before the meeting. Okay. Any questions? Comments?
No,
No?
Okay. All right, we're moving right along here. So the status of the oil spill here, I think there was 3 areas dug inside and they were clear.
3 inside, 3 outside.
Yeah.
So we're referring to this now because graveyard humor is about the only thing you can do to keep your head screwed on straight sometimes. This is the nightmare on Depot Street, this oil spill. 1 groundwater well came back with a sample in it.
Okay,
So we triggered the threshold for a Tier 1 monitoring site. So there'll be frequent samples taken. We're hoping for the best.
okay.
There are remedial actions that I feel more comfortable not talking about in public session just yet, but We didn't do this,
I know.
so there's a responsible thing that when you're injured, you're supposed to do after you've done your research, and I think we're pretty close to that.
Okay. We can get that information later if necessary.
So we have satisfied the invoices of the consultant without exceeding the amount approved. Well, we can't exceed the amount, but without bumping up against the limits of the amount approved by town meeting. So we are still within the budget that had been estimated by the consultant. But, we had hoped, obviously, that we wouldn't get any samples back from the monitoring wells. We had so much rain there for a while. It probably had a bit of a diluting effect. But now we're back to reality, and that's where we are. Air quality has definitely improved, so they came in, they did some follow-up testing on the air quality in that area of the basement, and it was fine, so.
That's good.
There is another piece of this, Madam Chair, which is the replacement of the day tank and pump assembly, because right now we are still going through the process. Adam Furno comes in and fills the tank by hand and monitors it directly because we don't have a system in place. So we're out to bid with this as well very soon.
For a new,
A new day tank and pump system.
any questions, members?
Well,
Okay, and the spillover at the elementary has been taken care of?
Different consultant, different approach. And much less severe situation.
Yes.
So all of the soil was removed. It's sitting in a dumpster. I think it's still sitting in a dumpster in the parking lot. It was supposed to be picked up and trucked away this week. They were waiting for a destination. Obviously, you have to do the paperwork.
Put it in the right place,
You have
yeah.
to put it in the right place. But all tests came back clean.
Oh, good.
Once the contaminated soil was lifted.
Good.
So we're okay. Knock on
Great.
wood. No, we have not yet seen a bill. And that is still a conversation with the vendor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was not our fault. The delivery guy brought to the wrong building and then overfilled.
Yep.
So I don't really think we should be on the hook for a dime, neither us nor our insurer.
Mm-hmm.
But our insurer hasn't shown a particularly strong backbone on these issues, so we may be on our own.
Okay. Any other issues that are going to be on our agenda coming up? Or right now we're,
I would encourage members, Madam Chair, to watch the videos of the public safety complex conversation, which is still very
new.
theoretical, right? It hasn't reached brass tacks yet, but I think it's very informative. They're only about an hour long each, but both Highway and the Fire Department have presented with slides. You can see pictures and you can see different thoughts that they've had about what their needs are going forward. And you may find it really good foundational knowledge to have going forward. And if you want hard copies of the presentations, we can get them to you. That
Would
wouldn't be
you-
hard.
I've seen several already.
Debbie?
I think they've had 2 or 3 meetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Anyone want hard copies?
No.
As long as we can see them. I haven't seen them, but, yeah. Ginger, you want any hard copy of this proposal?
I think that would be best if possible.
Okay, if we could get a, yeah.
All right, I'm writing it down.
Presentation made by the deputy chief of the fire department was very good. Definitely recommend the video on that. And she does some describing that's outside of the presentation, just for further information. And that was our last meeting earlier this week.
Okay.
Definitely a lot to digest with
Right.
the facility based on her report. It's really good.
Okay. Maybe you could give give us the site,
I'll give you the link. Sure.
okay, that we can,
Oh, that'd be good.
yeah. Have Jen send it via email to us. That would be good. Okay. Fred?
So, yeah, Fred, even though you did the walkthrough, there's more information above and beyond what you learned in the walkthrough.
Okay. All right, anybody have any other questions, comments on these items at this point?
Can I go back up to item 1?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just been sitting here thinking about this. What's the feasibility of so we don't have a ADA committee, the town doesn't have one at all?
We don't.
I was reading through the minutes, and on one of our minutes, it said that the building inspector, Ken, was appointed as the commissioner for this committee.
But, well, so there are two pieces of this.
Okay.
Here.
So we've had 2 ADA applications in town, one from the library and one from the Adult Social Center.
Well, this was for the library.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
okay.
going through the whole history.
All right.
The library's first try at this, they got high scores, but they did not get a grant. But at that point, we didn't even have an ADA compliance officer. Subsequent to that, we appointed the building commissioner to be the ADA compliance officer. And now it's Ken Frazier at the moment, right? It was Mark
Yeah.
Cafferline, I think, at the time. So then we applied for the Adult Social Center project, got another really strong score on our application. Thank you very much for having the compliance officer, but now where's your commission? Well, we didn't have it authorized because we hadn't adopted the local option to appoint the committee. So then town meeting approved that, and now it's just a matter of putting the committee together. I just think it's gotten lost in all the other business. So what I'll do is I'll make a note of it, and we'll go back to Lisa, and we'll put it on the agenda for the Board of Selectmen.
Please, yeah.
I think we need a couple of meetings. One, to ask for candidates to apply, to describe the position, and then post it. We'll probably post it on the town website and get the word out. And then if we get enough applicants, we'll try to seat a committee within the next couple of months.
And we'll need 2 people.
You'll need at least 3 or 4 or 5 people on that.
Okay.
I think, is this going to be like Concom? I don't know. I'll have to ask if we have to fill all the seats, or can we at least have a meeting if we can have 2? The Concom statute is funky that way. That
Yeah.
No matter how small it gets, as long as you have 1 person, you have a committee.
No,
I'm not so sure ADA is like that.
go
Well, I was
ahead,
just sitting
Fred.
here
Yeah.
thinking there's a lot of overlap with this committee, and I would mind serving on that committee if the meetings were at the same time, the same afternoon, like this committee ends and then the next committee begins. I think probably others on the committee might agree that it probably wouldn't take that much longer, and it fulfills what needs to be fulfilled and creates that committee. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. My question, though, is, for whatever reason, I got the impression that 3 people, and I think that's something you need to find out, how many do we need? State, whether it's state, town, I don't think the town has any set.
No, it's a state statute.
It's a state.
It's a local option that you adopted, so whatever
Right.
they say in the statute,
They probably say how many times they need to meet per year.
it might.
So that would be good to find out. And, if we could get this, it would maybe help the library in their, because they've been fundraising, but it's going to take more than that. They're looking at, what, $400,000 just to do a design for the ADA access? So,
We'll tackle that issue when we get to it. 400's a lot for design, but we don't know. I know where they were when they filed the grant. I don't know if they're in the same place now as where they were then, in terms of the improvements they want to make.
yeah. So perhaps somewhere, whenever the committee chooses or it's recommended, we meet again with the library members and see where they're at. What do you think? Any ideas, any suggestions?
Just, I just want to make sure everybody understands, though, the building itself is under the control of the trustees, not the
Right.
select board. So you actually don't have a role in this conversation with their selection process and
Right, understand.
so.
But it seems to me prudent to get this committee up and running, not just
To get
with
the
this.
ADA committee.
Yeah, right, get the ADA
Right.
committee up and running, which
Well, I'm
might
happy
be a
to know
fairly.
that you volunteer, and then we'll put your name on the list.
I wouldn't mind, like I said, I
Right.
would volunteer if it was the same, on the same evenings as, afternoons as this committee.
Okay, keep that
Doesn't
in
seem like it would
mind.
be that much
Yeah.
more work, and there might be other projects in the future that we'd probably want to have it in place, ready to go.
Good.
So I know this is being a heretic, and I understand that. But is there some reason why we can't just get a new library and let the old library figure out what we might want to do with that building and not want to do with that building? I understand it's in the trust and all of that, but it creates all kinds of issues for the town. And meanwhile, the library doesn't, have. Has anybody considered the thought that maybe we could just jettison this particular building and start anew?
I think, Ginger, we all are aware that this happened once before and it didn't fly.
Yeah, well,
And I know you did
try
put,
again because,
go ahead.
no, I just think that we're always stymied over the library because it's the trust.
Yeah,
And that is not helpful to the town or the people who would like to use a new modern library.
so if you want to look into any ideas or talk with the library trustees, maybe we could get some info as to where they are.
And I-
Is it-
Anything else?
No,
Okay. Well, probably along the way, once they get their ceiling taken care of, maybe we can have another discussion, sit-down discussion with the library board as to the status of their ADA and where they're at. Do you think that's a good idea?
Sounds like a plan, or even
it's been
just,
going on for years, Shirley.
Yeah?
even,
Literally years.
Understand.
And meanwhile, people still can't get into the library. The building is decrepit, and it just doesn't make sense.
Well, we have to start somewhere, and perhaps a conversation might start the whole process of what they have in mind and what the board has in mind, or any suggestions coming from the community.
Right, maybe the community ought to have a little more input. A lot of people don't even understand how it works or why it's the way it is, and why things can't happen more easily.
I think, every community at this point is going through a time when communication in the town as to what's going on, I'm hearing people are not aware of what's going on down towards 146, and it's the Economic Development Committee group process, and then not just us, but every community around us.
Communication in general is not good. I
That's
agree.
right. Yep. Even with all the technology we have, it seems to be worse than when we had a little local newspaper.
Well, the information's all there and it can be found, you just have to want to look for it.
Yeah.
There's nobody spoon feeding it to people, but if it's out there if you want to find it, so.
Okay.
I don't know who was speaking or what.
That's Fred.
Could you repeat
It's
that?
Fred.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Fred.
Hi.
All right.
What he said, Shirley.
I'm sorry?
Could you repeat what Fred said, because I could not hear him?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said the information is out there. It's not like the information is hidden. It can be found if people care to look for it. But you're right, it's not being spoon-fed to anybody. There is no newspaper that's, well, I guess there is, but.
Say spoon- Fred, did you say spoon fed?
No, I didn't, I didn't mean it that way, but you have to have the ambition to go and look for the information. It's not.
Perhaps it's, it's not that, it just, there doesn't seem to be anything that grabs anybody's, oh, what are they doing, and I'll find out about it. It doesn't seem to be happening. But hopefully, people will, get to be more curious and get involved in their community and look to where they can, hey, we need people on this board, and other boards do too. And my feeling is, if you're not involved with your community, don't be surprised if it doesn't work. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I think right now is a really bad time anyway, between COVID and
yes,
inflation,
yep,
politics of the world and the local politics. This is not a pretty picture currently, so
right.
I can see why one more thing is just one too many things.
Okay, if we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of minutes that we need to review and approve, and it's good to be catching up with these.
So, Madam Chair, I'm going to interrupt
Yes.
for a second. May I be excused? I have a mediation with one of our unions
Oh, sure.
at 5 o'clock. All right.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you for the information,
folks.
and
Quick question before you go.
Sure.
Is there a lot of meetings where the phone is used? Because we could get a phone interface that would make the easy for the person that are into here. It would be an expense, but,
Let's talk about that. Shoot me an email and we'll
okay.
circle back.
very good.
All right.
Okay. And Matt Benoit, if you have anything to add, I know you're learning along the way, but you've been here a few months now, and hope you're finding it interesting, and
Of course, of course. One of the questions I had is, I'm just filling out your annual report, which is due at the end of the month, and just going over up-to-date projects and stuff.
Yeah.
If it's okay, I'd like to run a draft by the group just for editing.
Oh, look at that, we used to do that with Bill.
Okay.
Didn't he used to give it to us, and then we'd read
He would
it?
do the whole report.
Oh, yeah, he would do it.
But you don't have to.
I missed the 10 months of the year, so
Okay.
what I'm going to do is I'll kind of put the framework out there.
Sure.
And just see where you guys can help me fill in the blanks on some of
I
these
did
active
talk to
projects.
Jen today
Okay.
about this, and I've
Yep.
had this in mind, and I did say to her, I know you and she
Mm-hmm.
has come in midway here, not even, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I'd, also write up a few
Yeah. I have,
suggestions, and sure, if you have it already.
I have last year's, and I've
Yeah.
just been working off of that, so I'll share it with the group, and
That's fine.
that'd be helpful.
We have to get it in, though, before the end of this month.
Yes.
So if you want to shoot us all an email, or
Absolutely.
however you want to do it,
I will, thank you.
that's great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking I'd be like, oh, Bill used to do this.
Yeah.
And Sean would sign it, but Bill, really, I think
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
he did it all.
I'll be happy to take it moving forward, I just have to
That's-
fill in the gaps, that's all.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yes. And don't forget, be on the lookout for it. And has to be
Yeah.
done and into Lisa in the selectman's office by the end of this month. So, very good. Thank you. Okay, we have minutes that we need to approve. Let's start with the minutes of June 16th.
I saw no corrections.
Okay, have you had a chance to read the minutes? And Ginger, are you still on?
I'm still here, yep.
Okay.
I'll
I
ma-
rely mostly on Linda, she picks up those little items.
Well, I used to be a minute taker from way back.
That's right. So Linda, do you want to make a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the June 16th, 2021 meeting minutes as presented.
Second?
Okay, the minutes have been a motion by Linda, seconded by Fred. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ginger? Individually, yes. Any objections? So voted. Okay. And then there's the minutes of July 20th, 2021.
I have one on the second page.
Yep.
The second line, it says, soon as possible because it has been waiting 2 years, TOO. Should that be 2, TWO? Or should it be too many years?
That's what I was wondering. I don't
Yeah.
know. With money put aside for the project, and this was the gym, I would say too many years.
All right.
It's been
so
more than 2
2 is
years.
okay, we need to add many.
Too many, yeah.
It appears the project number was 2019. It also lines up with the 2-year period.
Okay.
Well, I think we were even talking about it earlier than that, but whatever you wish to have it.
I'd say too many.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
All right. And I have number 9 on that one. It's public safety radio. What's left is for Matt to get the lease agreement for our, I believe it's equipment, to go to the Industrial Communications Tower in Webster.
Insert 2.
Yeah. And then Matt anticipates everything
To
to
be.
be ready. Yeah. And then in number 11, they have a contractor, and he will be signing the contract. So we need the. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any other corrections or errors, omissions? If not,
I'll make a motion to approve the July 20th, 2021 meeting minutes as amended.
Second?
motion made by Linda Brown, seconded by Fred. Okay, all in favor, and would you please individually?
Linda Brown, aye.
Fred Fontaine, aye.
Virginia Howe, aye.
Shirley Masinski, aye. Thank you. Okay, and the next set of minutes is August 18th, 2021. Any errors?
I didn't see any.
Okay. Number 2, here again is the library. It reads, they are still in the process of doing fundraising for the ADA. And basically what it really is to hire an architectural firm to draw up plans for the ADA. Anybody?
Well, we don't know if that was stated that day.
Well, that's true, that day at the meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Yep, you're right. I just didn't want anybody to think it was for the whole project, because it's just for the plans. And on number 4, a site walk, there is going to be a site walk visit which will be September 22nd at 10 a.m.
So add which?
A site walk visit, which will be September 22nd, 2021 at 10 a.m. And I do have one more on the next, turn the page, first line. Fred Fontaine stated that he met with Matt Wojcik, the town administrator, who explained RFPs, RDQs, and so forth.
So insert who
Who.
instead of and.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the August 18th, 2021 meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
Motion made by Linda Brown, seconded by Fred Fontaine, and all in favor, please.
Linda Brown, aye.
Fred Fontaine, aye.
Ginger Howe, aye.
Shirley Mazinski, aye. Thank you. And then October 7th, 2021, I do not have anything on.
On the second page, where it's the number 12, under number 12, where the meeting schedule is, shouldn't it be 2022 meeting schedule? Because that's what
Yep.
it was on here for.
Yep.
We wouldn't be approving the 2021 in October of 2021. You see where I am, Shirley?
Yeah.
Okay. So it needs to be changed to 2022.
So wait a minute, this is October of 2021.
Correct. And in October, we received the new upcoming
Oh,
schedule
okay.
for 2022.
Gotcha. All right,
Yes. Okay?
thank you.
Yes. You will.
All right,
I make a motion to approve the October 7th, 2021 meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
okay, any further discussion? If not,
Linda Brown, aye.
Fred Fontaine, aye.
Ginger Howe, aye.
Shirley Mazinski, aye. Thank you. And one more, we have, this was this past December, December 15th, 2021. Do you have any corrections?
I didn't have any.
In number 1,
Yeah,
it said, being put on hold for the time being until the library roof project is finished. Shouldn't that be ceiling project?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have that circled too, Fred. Good point. Yep. And then I have, let's see, under the Bad Luck Pond Outlet.
What number is
Project
that?
Number 5.
Okay.
Project is moving forward, and there, THERE, has been a lot of progress. Or you could say a lot of progress seen.
I would say just the there.
Okay. Any others?
No.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve the December 15th, 2021 meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying your name and
Linda Brown, aye.
Fred Fontaine, aye.
Ginger Howe, aye.
Shirley Mazinski, aye. Thank you, everybody. I think we're possibly caught up at this point. Okay, our upcoming meeting is February 16th, and again, be on the lookout for the information to review for the fire station roof. And hopefully, things will move along and we'll have some progress. Any other items or information not on the agenda at this point? Is anybody?
No?
Yeah,
No.
and thank you for the offer of helping with the report.
Sure thing, it's my job.
Get it, and get it out to everybody so they can take a look at it. And hopefully we can look at the safety complex information that's been moving along. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn at 5:10 PM.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to adjourn the meeting at 5:10 PM. All those in favor?
Aye. Linda
Aye.
Brown, aye.
Fred Fontaine, aye.
Ginger Howe, aye.
Shirley Mazinski, aye. Thank you, everybody, and stay warm.